Yeah, I mean.
Alright, so...
What's up, everyone?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, hello.
So, I'm Kimeiga, and I made a card game called Slaiga, and these are my friends. Introduce yourself.
I'm Steven. Marcus, at your service.
Logan.
And Slaiga is basically a game where you're trying to get a straight flush of 5 cards, but so it's kind of like a rummy game, but it's also really ruthless. You can shoot each other, you can block from each other, you can steal, you can lie, you can be really like a pain in the ass.
It's a Mario card game.
Yeah. Except a little bit less random, at least I think. So, without further ado, let's get started.
I know it's a black card.
So I'll have you know, Logan, once you go black, you never go back.
So this is how a basic game of Slaiga first starts. Every player gets 6 cards, and so after that...
Wait, alright. Everyone take a look at their hands.
And then there's a draw deck and a discard pile, but they remain upside down while everyone looks at their cards to see what they're going to do. Let's see what Steven's are. Steven's having some trouble. So when everyone's ready,
maybe can win.
they'll call ready.
Ready?
Ready.
And once everyone's ready, then one person will take their hand on the draw deck and one person on the discard pile, and they'll flip it over. 1, 2, 3.
Draw.
And whoever wants to start first can start. It's all for anyone. So Marcus decides to start. So he's the first person. And the game basically progresses where you take a card into your hand and then you put it down. So now Logan went because he wanted to go second. Each turn, you draw a card from either the top of the discard pile or the draw pile. You inspect it, then put it either in your hand, or you could put it back on the discard pile. This is basically how you slowly evolve your hand closer and closer to a straight flush of 5 cards. So now Steven's putting that card down. I think he made a good choice. So if you think you know the flush that someone is trying to create, you can shoot them with a card and to the right in the suit order, the following suit. Suit order is clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades, so it's alphabetical order. So if someone is collecting 3 or more clubs, you can shoot them with a diamond. Or you think someone has 3 or more spades, you could shoot them with a club. And this is actually how the volley will progress if you continue to shoot and block. So Marcus thinks that Steven has 3 or more spades, and Marcus has some clubs. So Marcus wants to see if he could shoot Steven. In order to shoot, place the shot card face down on the table in front of you. Call the name of the target suit and then the name of the card.
Spade, target, club shot. God! I did it! Yes!
If the defending player has 3 or more cards of the target suit, he has to either take a penalty or up the ante of the volley. But if he doesn't have 3 or more cards of the target suit, then he can call miss, and the attacking player will take a 1-card penalty.
Come on, pretty boy.
However, Steven actually has 3 spades. So he can either call concede and take a 1-card penalty, or he can block with a card of the next suit. The suit after clubs is diamonds. Steven planned to hit and has some diamonds ready, so it makes sense for him to block here.
Block.
This exchange is called a volley.
Our shot.
So now Marcus is kind of confident in his shooting skills, and I think Steven doesn't really want to give up too many of his cards because he's got some good cards. So Steven will actually call concede and take a 2-card penalty from this exchange.
Concede.
The way penalties work is that the penalized player must choose a number of cards from their hand and give it to the victorious player. who then puts it in the deck wherever they want. So that was a 2-card penalty to Marcus. Steven has taken a 2-card penalty here, and Marcus knows that Steven needs these diamonds to protect his spades, his precious spades. So Marcus actually is going to decide to put them at the very bottom of the deck. What a jerk. When you place cards at the bottom of the deck, you always make sure that the bottom card is shown to all players. That way, people know not to go to try to get cards that are near it. Now Steven has to reload 2 cards from either the deck or the discard pile. He decides to mix it up and he takes 1 from each. You can take from either of them in any order you want. He's very slow. Very careful man. After Steven reloads, the turn returns to the player after the attacker, in this case Logan. It's now Logan's turn to make a shot, or to just cycle. When you take a card from the top of the discard pile or the top of the draw pile and put another card down, that complete action is called a cycle. There are also a number of bullet cards that can earn you information, get you out of trouble, or mess people up in general. These bullet cards are the Ace, King, Queen, the Jack, 10, and in base Slaiga only, the Joker. Base Slaiga is the true version of Slaiga, whereas there's also a version of Slaiga called Honest Slaiga that involves no lying at all. For the purpose of this video, we're going to be showing base Slaiga.
Flip target diamond shot.
Heart block.
Spade shot.
Top block.
Diamond shot.
If you want to end a volley, you can use an ace. If you shoot with an ace, the opponent can only block with an ace, and if you block with an ace, the opponent can only shoot with an ace. Marcus has an ace here, and the penalty is getting quite high, so Marcus is going to decide to block with his ace here.
Heart block. Ace.
Now, Steven is in a kind of a predicament because he can only counter shot with another ace, but Steven actually has an ace up his sleeve.
Spade shot. Ace.
Marcus doesn't have another ace here, so he's forced to concede.
Diamond target. Heart shot.
Concede.
Wow, what a jerk.
My turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
So aces actually have a second purpose. If one person is repeatedly conceding, you can use an ace to artificially raise the ante of a volley. If you open up a volley with an ace shot, that increases the penalty by 1.
Diamond target, heart shot, ace. Spade block, ace. Impressive. Club shot, ace.
Whoa, this is unnatural.
Concede.
So this is actually a 2-card volley, but because there are 2 shots in the volley, it's a 2-shot volley. But because it was opened with an ace shot, Logan actually has to take a 3-card penalty because it's 2 plus 1. The king is the second bullet card. The king allows everyone to look up to 6 cards ahead in the deck. You must put it on the discard pile at the end of your cycle to invoke it.
Invoke.
Steven now can splay the first 6 cards of the deck for everyone to see, but whenever he wants, he can put it all back if he sees what he needs. The queen is the third bullet card in Slaiga. The queen allows you to cycle with one of the 6 most recent cards in the discard pile.
Invoke.
The jack is the 4th bullet card in Slaiga. Jack allows you to jack a card from the hand of someone else. It's a really annoying card. When you place a jack and call,
Jack shot.
you invoke a jack volley, which is a special kind of volley. You can only block a jack shot with another bullet card, and it doesn't matter which suit it is.
Block.
Counter shot.
Ooh.
Counter block.
Counter shot.
Uh-oh.
Counter block. Concede.
This is a 3-shot jack volley. These are the shots here. This means that Logan, now having conceded, has to take a 3-card jack penalty. This means that Steven can call out the name of 3 cards, and if Logan has each one of them, then he has to give them to Steven immediately, and Steven can replace them with one of the cards in his own hand.
Okay, so Queen of Spades.
Uh-oh. Steven can continue calling cards if he wants, or he can end at any point.
Do you have the 8 of Spades?
Even if Logan doesn't have the 8 of Spades, he has to give a card to Steven. Any card that he has. And Steven doesn't have to take it if he doesn't want to. He can just give it right back. The reason why we pass them face down is so that Marcus doesn't get unintended information. Steven doesn't really want any more cards. He's fine with what he has, so he can only call 2 cards and leave, just trash the 3rd penalty card. The 10 is the 5th bullet card in Slaiga. The 10 allows you to shuffle the entire draw deck. This allows you to mix it up if someone is getting close to a card you don't want them to get to. To use a 10, just discard it at the end of your cycle.
Invoke.
Now Marcus can shuffle the entire draw deck. The second way to use the 10 is to put it on top of a bullet card. This allows you to perform a full shuffle.
Invoke.
This means you can take the discard pile and shuffle it into the draw pile, which completely messes up anybody's timing if they had used the king to see ahead. After you shuffle it, just put 1 card down to make the new discard pile, and then splay the bottom card as usual.
Invoke.
Nope.
Why?
Depths you go.
You can actually cancel a king, queen, or 10 by sacrificing a king, queen, or 10 of your own. After you sacrifice it, both cards go to the bottom of the draw deck. Now Steven, the victim, has to reload a card, and then Marcus reloads the card afterwards. Now it's Marcus's turn. The 6th and last bullet card in Slaiga is the Joker. But before we talk about the Joker, we have to talk about what makes Slaiga Slaiga, and that is lying through your teeth. In Slaiga, you can lie about shots, blocks, and misses. In this situation, Logan knows that Steven's collecting clubs. However, Logan actually doesn't have a diamond to shoot Steven with. But Logan doesn't care. Logan lies all the time. So Logan's actually going to open with a shot that's normally wouldn't happen.
Club target. Diamond shot.
So Steven actually doesn't have a heart to block the diamond shot that Logan just shot with. Steven's also a dirty, dirty liar though, so he's going to stoop to Logan's level.
Block.
Logan, being a dirty, dirty liar, recognizes the dirtiness of other liars. And Logan kind of suspects that what Steven purports is the identity of this card is not correct.
Block check.
Steven now has to flip over the card. If Steven's block card is actually a heart, then Logan will have to take a 1-card penalty plus 1 for being wrong about Steven lying. However, if Steven's block card is not actually a heart, which it's not, Steven will have to take a 1-card penalty plus 1 for actually lying. This is because this volley is a 1-shot volley, and you just take 1 more from the regular volley amount for lying, or for being wrong about someone else's lying.
What's up, bro? What are you gonna do?
What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do to you? Club, target, diamond shot.
I'm in shot. Miss.
So you can actually lie about misses, too, in Slaiga. However, anytime someone calls a miss, the attacker can call a miss check. Basically, or you can concede. If Marcus calls a miss check on Steven's miss, then Steven has to show his entire hand to Marcus. If Marcus's miss check is valid, meaning Steven lied about the miss, then Steven has to take a 3-card penalty. And then if Marcus's miss check is not valid, then Marcus has to take a 4-card penalty.
Miss check.
Take it.
So Marcus's miss check is actually not valid, so Marcus has to take a 4-card penalty. You can also lie about jack shots.
Jack shot.
And you can also lie about blocking them.
Block.
Check.
The checking works the same as in a regular volley. This means that now Logan can call 2 cards instead of just 1. Replay that scene and see another way that could turn out. Now that you know about lying, we're going to introduce the final bullet card, the Joker.
Jack shot.
Jack.
So now Steven has called a check on this jack shot. Logan can either accept the check and take the penalty, or he can use his newfound Joker to negate the check.
Invoke.
This means that the check is invalidated and Logan can take his card back without revealing it. The Joker is now placed on the bottom of the draw pile, and Logan has to reload 1 card from either pile.
I'll take this.
A Joker can be used on any check. Every turn in Slaiga, you can do 3 actions in any order. You can cycle or invoke, you can shoot, and you can jack. Anytime you place down a king, queen, or 10, that's basically an invoke cycle, which is a special kind of cycle. Once you do that, you can't do a regular cycle where you just take a card and replace it with one of your own. Right now, Steven is looking through the discard pile to see how things are going. At any point in time, you can always take up the discard pile and just look through it.
Invoke.
Steven decided to invoke a king, which is making his cycle an invoke cycle, meaning that he can't cycle again. He's now looking ahead in the deck. When he's ready, he's going to put it all back.
Logan. I'm a jack.
Concede.
Alright, let's see. Give me the ace of diamonds. I don't want Alice. Let's see. Now Marcus, spade shot. Hard target.
Miss.
Alright. Here you go.
Steven just did an invoke cycle, jacked, and shot. That completes his turn, so he can't do anything else in his turn, and then the turn will pass to Marcus afterwards. The only thing he does now is reload. To win in Slaiga, you need to get a straight flush of 5 cards. Once you get a straight flush of 5 cards, you can place your extra one down face down and call Slaiga.
Ah.
Slaiga. I win, boys.
Win check.
Interestingly, there was a time in the game where you could actually lie about a win, but those days are over. Steven, being the cocky person he is going to go for greater risk for greater reward. There's a special version of the Slaiga called a Super Slaiga that requires you to get a straight flush of 6 cards rather than just 5.
End your turn.
I'm done.
Alright. Oh, one of them is there. See?
A Super Slaiga doesn't require you to place a card face down, and it's worth 2 points, whereas a regular Slaiga is only worth 1 point. Normally, the game is played to 6 points, but you can play to any number you would like. Side note, in some rummy games, ace is only low, but in the rummy game of Slaiga, ace is low and high, meaning you can always wrap through an ace. This ensures that aces are balanced correctly along with the rest of the cards. There's a variant for beginners and for people who don't want to lie, called Honest Slaiga. Honest Slaiga requires no lying. In Honest Slaiga, you shoot, block, and jack with your cards facing up.
Hard target. Oh. Hard target. Spade check.
Marcus is obviously used to playing base Slaiga. In Honest Slaiga, the Joker actually has no special purpose, so you can't use it to negate a check because there's no need for checks. However, you can always use a Joker as a bullet card to block a jack shot, or to counter shot a jack shot, and so on. It was nearing the end of senior year. A lot of people were bringing cards to class. We were playing games like BS, Slapjack, Egyptian Rummy, Egyptian War, poker, blackjack. A lot of games like that. I didn't like them too much because I felt like a lot of them were really random, and there weren't that many social situations within each game. You know, maybe somebody came closer to winning or a little bit less close to winning, but there wasn't that many like climaxes of emotion that would gravitate people to watch. It just felt kind of monotonous and stuff, especially like Egyptian War. Like, it's great when you like slap on a really good part, but that doesn't happen that often, at least when I was playing. So to combat all this, I created a game called Slaiga. So Slaiga, like, what I tried to do to mitigate randomness is, you know, the deck is inherently random because you shuffle it, but you can mitigate that by having like lots of different options of things to do throughout the game. So in Slaiga, you can cycle, you can shoot, you can jack. There's plenty of bullet cards for different niche situations, like, you know, if a card gets buried, you want it back, you can queen it back to yourself. If you don't know what's coming up, you can king forward, see what's going on. You can 10 if someone's like, you can tell someone's like about to get close to a card that you don't want them to get to because they might win. If someone takes your card, you can jack it from them. If someone's getting really close, you can shoot them. You know, like, there's so many different situations that there's a lot of social possibility too. Like, there have been times where Steven and I had been like shooting back and forth when we end up like on the sixth round of the volley, and then I like shot check his last shot and I fail, and then I have to like give up my entire hand to him. Or the situations like where somebody super Slaigas really early into the game and you realize that they had jacked the 2 cards they needed from 2 different people. Sometimes there are people who are really good at counting cards, like my friend Marcus, and he just like figures out what you have really early into the game and basically tells everyone else, and so you kind of have to dig yourself out of a hole while everyone is shooting at you. It's my cat Sadie. It's so socially dynamic, it's fun to watch, and it's, even though each game plays out differently, it does well in terms of mitigating randomness. I feel like people, sorry, my cat is like, I feel like people have developed their own play styles. You can really tell what play styles they have. Like, some people, like Steven, shoot really early into the game. Logan, he doesn't lie that much, but he also is good at counting cards. Marcus is also kind of passive, but he jacks early into the game. But yeah, like, there's that. You never feel like the odds are stacked against you just because of the cards. Like, you might get a bad hand, but there's always things you can do, even when you have a bad hand. Like, you can be more reckless with your shooting because you have less to lose. You can gain more information. You can start mischecking people, even if you don't think they might have missed, just so you can see their hand, so that and then you get rid of 4 of your own cards, but like what if they were trash cards? You don't care. You know what I mean? There's always something you can do, and it really shows. People who are good at the game, you can tell they are because they make the most of every opportunity, which is why I love it. So, hey, if you like Slaiga too, now that you know how to play, please teach it with your friends, teach it with your family, your teachers, your girlfriends and boyfriends and significant others. Hashtag Slaiga, hashtag Super Slaiga if you want to share with me how amazing you are at this game. If you're so amazing, I might challenge you, but you'll probably lose, so sorry about that. Yeah, I'm Kimeiga, and ciao ciao.